Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another edition of This Is Recorded Podcast. Joined with a young entrepreneur, somebody out there on his grind, getting to it, trying to make it happen. Please introduce yourself with your name and socials and everything.
Hi, hello everybody. My name is Kareem Thomas from Brooklyn, New York. My company is Range Pralines. So basically, I make praline candy, bag them up, sell them. I have my own website. Just got into a brick and mortar, and that's a small sample of
Oh,
it really quickly.
in the name of the website and the social.
Oh, name of the website. Thank you. Name of the website, just like the name of the bag, Range Pralines. The social media, Instagram, also Reams Pralines, REAMS PRALINES. Super easy. As soon as you type up Reams, I should definitely start popping up.
Definitely. Okay. So New York, man. New York is known for the hustle. So where did you see the hustle coming up? Did you see it in your parents? Did you see it in the heartbeat of New York? Where do you think you seen?
Uh I've seen it everywhere. Seen it in my family, seen it just like you said in a heartbeat, the streets of Brooklyn, New York, and just New York in general. Aunts, uncles, friends. Um, Being in New York is kind of like by nature you have to have a side hustle, have to have a hustle in general. So and you somebody like me, I just didn't like working for other people, and I guess I was just looking for that way out that made sense. And no, I've never saw my father work for anybody except for when I was a child, when he used to work in the dry cleaners, and even then he kind of like ran the show. So when that kind of went, he just went straight entrepreneur and worked for himself. My mother worked for the New York Stock Exchange, but her side hustle was baking cakes, baking pies, pecan pies, cupcakes. So anything you could think of baking, she was doing it for her friends, family, co-workers. Somebody needs a birthday cake, my mother was making it. So I kind of grew up watching both of them. Those are people, I guess, easily you could say closest to me, because that's my mother and my father. So I kind of watched them. And my father used to always kind of try to get me to do little things on my own as a side hustle to make my own money. So I guess it just wasn't the right thing. So once I found the right product, um, which um, which the whole story behind it is I came home. My mother was making pralines because she went to Cracker Barrel. They put them on the pancakes. I tried them. I was like, "Oh, these is really good." But I said to my mother, "I was like, hey, I think I could upgrade these a little bit." So I started playing around with them, using all kinds of ingredients, cinnamon, brown sugar, vanilla, different kinds of salt. And that's what I got, what I have now, rings pralines. But I always felt it was in my destiny to be an entrepreneur, to work for myself. I originally went to school for architectural engineer, and my goal was to always, as soon as I get a job, learn what I can learn, start my own firm. Always start my own firm. Unfortunately, because of finance, I didn't have the money to keep going to school. So just kept working, working, working. And when I found this, it was just like, let's just take it to the next level and just keep working on it.
Yeah, and it's smart what you said because I follow somebody, I think it's Derek Grace, on Instagram. And he says, as far as jobs and stuff, is infiltrate, educate, vacate. It's like go in there, figure it out, figure out how you want to do it and get out of there. Because I think it's just something special about owning your 24. He talks about owning your 24 hours in a day, being able to do what you want, and also like not even knowing what day it is because you're not on nobody's schedule, you're on your own schedule. So of course you're gonna know certain dates and stuff like that, but in life you just living on to the sound of
Yeah.
your own drum. It's something special like that, man.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure people go through it. Everybody goes, hey, what's on today again? But it's a difference when you saying that because you moving to the beat of your own drum.
Yeah. I think everybody wants that, but I think like we talked about a little bit before we got started, that consistency and that hard work. It's like everybody accepts a paycheck because they know whether I give 100 or 10%, as long as I show up to this job, I'm gonna get paid in 2 weeks. But when you're doing it on your own, you got to work probably 80 hours in a week doing it on your own,
Yeah,
figuring it out, trying to hustle, trying to get things together, and everybody don't want that. So I think most people just settle for that. Every 2 weeks I'll just get this paycheck, even though I hate it here. I don't like the people I work.
yeah.
I don't like anything. I just end up being here. So that's something special.
Yeah, you get comfortable.
Yeah,
And being an entrepreneur, you have to learn how to be comfortable in uncomfortable positions.
right.
Okay, so you have to literally live in an uncomfortable like avenue and like build that studio, not still but build that luxury apartment on like uncomfortable avenue
Yeah,
and like make it yours. You know what I'm saying? Like once you get comfortable being uncomfortable, certain situations, even if it's a new one, you just be like you'll go back in your memory and your brain and kind of try to like what situation was I in similar to this and how can I use that? Or even if you don't, that fear is kind of out the way. When I went to Ultra Babel, my friend is a chef. I went to Ultra Babel to debut my product. And I didn't have a bag. I didn't have nothing. All I had was pralines. And I put them in a plastic container. I had like a little tote bag. I was so embarrassed to walk in it. Like I was so embarrassed. I felt like I wasn't prepared. I felt like I didn't have the proper presentation that you were supposed to give. So nervous. It took me about 5 minutes just to walk inside. I'm just literally just standing outside, telling like, what am I doing? Am I doing the right thing? Are they gonna laugh at me? Are they gonna even trust the product? I went, I saw the guy, he was a chef, he was having an event. First time meeting me, first thing he said was, hey, this is my good friend. He's a great chef. And I was just like, oh shit, the pressure's on. He's throwing me up. He's basically throwing me an alley. He
yeah,
basically throwing me an alley, and it's like to me, this is like game 7 of the final, and I better dunk this.
yeah, for sure.
And I bust open a container, people start trying it, they start telling me how good it is. I was so nervous, I had to walk back out and go to the bar and get a drink and then come back in.
Yeah.
And then when I came back in, people was telling me how good it was, and just like woosah moment.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is something important, and I think that's what entrepreneurs have. They have that ability, like when it's like they can knock that fear down. Like they just go at it, and they like, look, we either gonna win or we gonna lose, and like they don't care. But most people, like we said, the people that just work every 2 weeks, they just want to win every time they want that check at the end of the 2 weeks, but not knowing if you go try something different, go and show off your new product and it goes to the moon in 6 months, you could have a whole different life trajectory and you wouldn't even known because you wouldn't have tried. You would have just been like,
Yeah,
I'm just gonna go back to work because I know I'm gonna get this paycheck at the end of the 2 weeks. But it's just a part of that entrepreneurship, part of that hustle, man. People gotta, just go out there and try something about hustle and something that's good too. I don't know, have you seen they had the Derek Jeter documentary on ESPN
oh
lately?
yeah, I saw pieces of it, but I didn't watch it like the way I watched the Jordan documentary, but
Oh,
it's definitely
yeah. It's
it's def-
definitely the same level of like insanity and competition like Derek Jeter had, kind of like Jordan, but nobody knows because Derek Jeter didn't really talk like that.
yeah, that's one of the things I definitely saw in the documentary. Them talking about how reserved and how quiet he was, but he was definitely like hungry.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was definitely hungry.
And that's part of that hustle. Now, do you remember when a special time in New York in '99 when the Knicks was going on that playoff run, went to the championship?
Please, no. Let's not
Yeah,
talk about that.
that was, man, it was crazy because I was born in New York, but we moved when I was like 6 to Virginia, but I would always go back and everything. But I just so happened to live in New Jersey at that time that the Knicks was on that crazy run. So I would go
Hmm.
to New York like every weekend. So man, I was going to New York, and then when they made the playoff run, they had this sign in Times Square, like, oh, push sign if you want the Knicks to go all the way. So man, I signed that thing, and I knew after that I was like, oh man, they're gonna win now. I put my stamp on it, man. They're gonna win. They're gonna do it. Man, they got to the Spurs and got whooped. I mean, 4-0. We ain't win not one game. It's like,
Yes.
wow, man.
Yeah, he wasn't playing back then as first. He
Yeah,
definitely wasn't playing at that time.
it's just like being a Knicks fan, you just kind of know, man. It's just like, oh, we gonna get let down, man. It's just one of the worst relationships to be in because it's like you stay in this relationship with the Knicks, and it's like they just always let me down, man. And
Yes, it's almost like a mental abusive relationship.
yeah, it's literally it's like you trying to figure out why you stay in it, and it's just like you don't know. It's just your love for the Knicks. You love them, and it's like, oh God, they just never do you right.
Yeah, they give you moments of like in a relationship where they give you moments of like clarity and like, oh, it might be all right. It might be,
And then they just let you down, man. So, how was school for you growing up? Like going in high school and everything? Because
oh, hated school.
yeah,
Hated school. I don't know if that's like I don't know how many people, and one of the things you see like entrepreneurs, you always see like entrepreneurs dropping out at some point, like in college or like your high school. I wasn't really my thing. I barely got out, I got a city job or whatever. But yeah, like I never enjoyed going to school. School wasn't difficult, like probably like most kids in America. Math is the hardest thing for me, but like everything else I was able to get like 75s with no problem. But like as far as creativity goes, school wasn't it.
yeah,
And I
it
was
stunt your growth, man. It really is like in other countries and stuff. My wife told me like Europe, different things. And ninth grade, they start putting you towards what you're gonna end up doing in your life because like those other years, it just leaves time literally to get in trouble because you're so burnt out. You've been doing school from kindergarten to ninth grade, and then you're like, man, like what are we even learning this for? We learning things that's not gonna help us in life. If you go to a public school, they're not giving you the greatest tools. It's just literally like a grown up daycare at some point.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, it's like some of these like jobs that you need college degrees for, a basic college degree, like a mature high school kid can do some of these jobs. Like a mature high school kid that's well and that's pretty good on a computer can do some of these jobs that's making you go to school for 4 years.
Yeah, it's just really like almost becomes a scam to get your money because if you put me or you in the same spot for 3 to 6 months, if you show us what to do, we're gonna figure it out. It's not gonna take us
Yeah,
4 years. It's gonna be like if y'all tell me like even with like different nursing, different things. Of course, you gotta know like, hey, this person is dying. You need to know these things. But when it comes to the math and stuff that they put you in, they calculate everything for you already. Like so, they make you learn
yeah,
how to do all these things, and they're like, why? Yeah, at the end of the day, because it's like they calculate it for you, but they don't teach you the things like about taxes, about loans, about savings account, like the stuff that you should know, they don't teach you.
yeah,
All this other stuff, random stuff, they teach you over and over and over. It's crazy.
yeah. It is, and it's one of the things people be talking about the public school system for God knows how long. And it kind of just kills creativity, and it's no wonder why the creative people kind of like veer off in a way and kind of do their own thing because it's just not mentally stimulating the brain or even the soul.
Yeah.
So like to keep especially a young person engaged, it's extremely hard, especially when you have things you want to do. And you see it all the times with musicians, it's like, I mean, I just did music. Like I ain't paying attention to nothing else.
Yeah.
I just wanted just to do music. So I was cutting, I was doing this, I was doing that. It's because I knew I wanted to do music
Yeah.
or anything else. That people's like, well, and you see it right now where it's like even in sports with Lonzo Ball with him taking his son out of high school and put him in like overseas to play overseas in Europe and stuff because he knew like, yo, my son has the talent. He's wasting his time in high school right now. Like he's 16 and he's giving these grown men overseas 20 something points.
Yeah.
Right. He could be making damn near $500,000. right? Like I think before he was even in the NBA, he had a Lamborghini, and that was his money,
Yeah,
right? And he had a good structure. He had people who knew money. Like his father played, even though his father wasn't a great basketball player, but I'm pretty sure he had a good understanding of money structure just because of what he saw and what he saw in other people who's making money, losing money, spending money, saving money, investing in money. So he probably took all that and taught it to his sons. And it's the reason why his youngest son was able to be so successful.
yeah. It's just in life, you just got to figure out your route, like, and that's what even with parenting is like, you got to figure out what your kid is into. You can't figure out your idea of what they should be. You got to figure out, like, as they grow, what makes them click. Like you said, what mentally stimulates them is like, okay, they like drawing, they like music, like 2, 3 years old, you could kind of start telling like what kind of things they like. And I think you want to elevate them as much as possible, because I think what happens with a lot of young, especially young black males, it's like, I'm bored after ninth grade. It's like ninth grade, you got the nerves, like, oh wow, I'm a ninth grader. But then after you get through that year, it's like, oh well, I'm just kind of riding this out for the next
Yeah,
years. And it's hard to stay focused because it's like, dog, I've been doing this for so long. That's when the grades start to slip. And that's when that 15, 16 dudes start dropping out because they like, what am I doing here? I don't really
yeah,
for this.
you get just dissemination is not there, and also too when you don't have no real direction,
Hmm.
right? So if you have like, if it's like for me, like I knew I wanted to be an architect when growing up from like before I was in the fifth grade. Like what's like I played with Legos. My father said you should be an architect. I like, hey, what is an architect? Somebody that design buildings. I want to do that. So I always knew I wanted to be an architect. So when I got out of high school, finally went to college. I went to college to be an architect. So a lot of these kids in high school don't know what they want to do. And a lot of times you ask them in a role, you'll hear nursing probably 15 different times, right? It's with women, but with males, it's kind of like lost.
Yeah, they don't know. They just know they want to make money. They don't
You want to
really
make
know
money.
what,
Yeah.
but hey, they don't want to try anything. They just know, like, I want to make money. But
Yes. So a lot of times you might hear like, oh, I just want to go to school for business. But then what? You
business,
know, like
business just
what
sounds
do you want to what do you want to do in business? Because it's so big, right? Like just saying, oh, I want to be a business, like it's so many things it goes to, right? So it's just like the kind of want to have like at least by 18, you want to have at least an idea what in business. Now it could change 1,000 different times, but at least you want to have an actual idea. And a lot of these kids, especially young males, just don't. They just don't have an idea. So I definitely think if school, and not just in school, but like in the home too, because you can't just ask your teachers to do everything. Like your mother, your father, auntie, uncles, your next door neighbor that asks you how school is. Everybody has to kind of put in to kind of mold this young person's mind a
right.
little bit. And
Yeah, the real
I think
village.
that's one of the things that like, yeah, and that's one of the things that like we're missing, especially in the Black community. Especially like sometimes like in the inner city because everybody's so busy doing their own thing. And so I think it's really important to have as young as possible direction.
Right.
Now, if your direction changes, if you change that direction, cool, but at least it's still direction. It's like like Google Maps. It's like you go left because you ain't like that direction, but it still gives you another direction to the point to where you want to get. So I think that's really important, just to have some type of it's especially us being older people now, is be able to give the younger people some form of direction. I think that really matters.
Yeah, and that mentorship, is important because it's like, a lot of people don't have guidance. And, it's like, and then now with the internet, it's like it's the gift and the curse because everybody's like, oh well, I don't need school. I'll be a YouTuber. I'll just start doing pranks, or I'll just start questioning different women on the street and ask them crazy stuff.
Yeah.
If I do this, I'll do it. But then they realize like, oh, I did it 3 times and I ain't got a million views. Why? It's like,
Why?
not
Yeah.
it's not that easy, but it's just like everybody has to, mold and help and show somebody different ways. But you got to keep that balance. So you need some type of money coming in, because I watch like Earn Your Leisure is a podcast. They talk about a lot of finance, and they say look at it as your job is your first investor. So just use the job because nobody wants to stay there. So just use it
Mm-mm.
for the money. It can get you to invest in other things. And also you got to take risks, but you got to take those calculated risks. You got to kind of make it make sense. You got to be like, okay, well, this is more money than I think I want to spend, but it could really lead to something special. But you don't want to put yourself completely in a hole unless you really are putting all your, chips on the table and you really trying to just go for it. Everybody, but like you said, I love that analogy of like we need that direction and like if we don't go this way, we can go that way. And I really appreciate, people like your dad, like as a mentor to me, and your mom gave me game before about stocks and different things, man. You come from a good foundation and I think they
Thank
have
you.
that direction, man. You got a good sense of direction behind you.
Thank you. And that also helps to give you the courage to actually do it. Because
Yeah.
sometimes you may do things for certain reasons like desperation. Um, sometimes it's just a want. And sometimes the people in behind you can give you the courage to go out there and do it. That's really important.
Yeah.
And so because there's a lot of people who don't have somebody behind them and who's saying like you could do it or like yeah why not do it, like what's the worst that could happen and
Yeah.
stuff. So
Yeah.
it's
It's
definitely it's definitely it's definitely important.
it's amazing. So tell me about that feeling after you cooked up that first batch of your pralines and was like, wow, I think I got something here, because like you said, when you're older and you're trying to figure it out and you're trying to figure out and you working jobs and you working jobs and you quit a job and you have a job, but then you finally found something like I found this podcast. I like photography, different things. Like, all right, I think I could do something with that. But how does it feel when you finally messing around with something, you find an idea you kind of like, and you finally got it right? How did it feel when it was like, oh man, I think I could turn this into something?
uh well I think for me it might take a minute because I kept thinking about it. I kept thinking about it. Like, I think I have something. I think I have something. But like, I wasn't like jumping up and down and stuff yet. So
Yeah.
I was working at J. Crew, and my business partner, he was working at the same time. And one of the things that he does, he helps people build businesses. So he connects people. Like, you need a graphic guy, I got a graphic guy. You need a numbers guy, I got a numbers guy. You need a photographer, I got a photographer. Like he just links people together and helps them to develop businesses, specifically Black people. It's because he felt like a lot of Black people didn't have the know-how or the resources. So specifically, he wanted to help Black people. So I talked to him like, hey man, I think I got a product, some pralines. I think it could be something. The first thing he said was bring it in, and if it tastes good, then we could do something. So I came in with a Ziploc bag of pralines. He had some. He was like, "Yo, this is good. We could definitely do something." And the rest of the people in the store had tried them, and he was like, "No, these are really good. These are good." And when Lee said that, that's what kind of like in the back of my head, it was like, "Oh, I think I might have something." Like before, it was like, "I think I got something," but it's different when like your mother say this is good, you know.
Right.
Your auntie, like, oh, nah, these say it's different. But when you have people that you don't know or you only know 'em through work, like then you could barely remember any names,
Yeah.
and they're like, yo, these are good, and it's just like, okay, okay, because now y'all are like actual. I'm talking at like possibly my actual customers in the future. So then it's like, okay, people are liking this. Nobody in the store said these don't taste good. So it's just like, all right, now we can start really talking about packaging. We can start talking about numbers. We could really start talking. Then that's when it started really to feel good. And then when I did my first event, well, what I used to do is I used to set up before COVID. I used to go to Williamsburg, Brooklyn, and set up a table by the train station, play some music, and just sell my product. I think in 4 days I made over $400. and it was one bag was $6, other bag was $4. And that's when even when I did the thing for Ultra Babel, it was cool. It was cool. But when I did that and I actually had people giving me money, and I was just like, yo, it's official. This is official. I got the bag. I got everything I need. I barely had a nutrients label, and people were still buying it. People, and I was just like, yo, this is now when you could feel the cash in your hand and not just hear the positivity, but people paying their money with literally where their mouth is because they actually like the product. That's when it was just like, because I guess for me it took levels. It
Yeah.
was just like, oh no, these are good. Other people trying them, I didn't know. Like, no, these are really good. People giving me money now, and it was just like, because once people start giving you money for something, it's just like, all right, I have something. I for sure have something. And I think at that moment, and me counting the money, realizing how much money I made in 4 days. And it wasn't just like, oh, I was just out there for 3 hours. No, I was out there 10 hours, sun up to sun down and stuff. Even when the sun was down, I had 2 or 3 bags. I was just like, yo, let me see if I can get these 3 bags off. Like I know I could get these 3 bags off.
Right.
And that was that feeling. That was that part when I realized it was just like, yo, I have something. And then the next week when people coming to me saying, hey, I was looking for you last week, I didn't see you. That's when it was just like, yo, Kareem, you got something. You take this to the next level. You have something.
That
So
is
that's kind of it was for me. It's kind of like different levels for me.
that
And
is
everybody's different. You know, some people make one sale and be like, I got it. I got it. I'm about to be a millionaire. Some people just have somebody who they don't know try it and it's like, oh, I got it. All I got to do is get the right bag, get the right marketing. So that's kind of how it was for me. It was just levels. Cause I don't like to get too excited.
right.
So I like kind of like get the positivity, make the adjustments, get the positivity, make the adjustments and stuff. So for me personally, it just took multitude of different levels,
Yeah. Yeah.
and each level got better and better. The reaction I got just got better and better. So it just made me feel better and better, just giving me the energy, the courage, the willpower to keep going further and further. So that's kind of how it was for me.
Yeah, and I think that's what it is. And I love what you're saying because we're older guys. So it's like you don't give us just a, like one person say, "Oh, this is great." It's like, nah, man. I've been doing this life thing for a little minute now. It's like I need
Yeah,
more than like, oh, it's good. I need confirmation, and the confirmation comes
yeah,
more people liking it. Even when I was doing pictures, when I do the podcast, like you said, it's very relatable for me. It's like when it's somebody in your family or somebody, oh, I love it. It's like, oh, okay, cool. You're supposed to say that. But like when other people's like, yo, you got something that's pretty dope, and you keep hearing it and keep hearing it, and you trust people's opinions on it. You like, oh wow, well, I need something. I think I got something. But then the other part kicks in is the consistency. Like you said, it's like, hey, I ain't see you last week. You know, people want to see you. They want to see more of it. And I think that's where a lot of people like our age fall short. Is because it's like, you know, you've been dealing with life for so long, and then you like, oh well, dog, that was just a fluke. That was just last week, and you just kind of give up. So it's really something about, like you said, adjusting, figuring out positivity, adjusting, and you got to keep it going. But you know, in life, anything good, I always use artists like the Jay-Z's, the Beyonce's, anybody, if you know their stories, they weren't hot fresh out the gate. They didn't have the hits fresh out the gates, but then you look at them
uh-uh.
now and you like, whoa, man, these people are bigger than life now.
Yeah. You like 37 hits later.
Yeah, yeah, but
What
in
you
the
hit
beginning,
later.
you know, nobody knew what Reasonable Doubt was from Jay-Z. Jay-Z was 26. Like people in rap like 18, 19, you know, so he was 26.
Yeah.
Beyonce was with a group. They're like, oh, most group people, when they go solo, it don't go that great. You know, like, and then that's what you realize in life. Anything worth having and anything really great, it takes a little minute. You don't want the like quick pop, like, oh man, because
Nah,
it falls
you
off
don't.
quickly.
Before it's off, and also too, it's kind of like a fake reassurance a
Yeah,
little bit because you could be really, really hot super quick, right? And if you don't make the proper adjustments to keep that level of hotness, it it'll go because people get bored quick, and you see it all the time. You see
Yeah.
toys, gigapets, social media fads. Like
Yep.
how quick did that crate thing come and go, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
so
It's crazy.
so it's things just come and go, but to be longevity takes time. It takes work. You know what I'm saying?
And
You
you
got it
want
got to
it that way.
stew in a pot for a little bit,
Yeah.
right?
You want it
Even
that way.
right, even though you look in the pot like, oh, it smells good, but the OG's like, nah, it's not ready though. It's
Yeah.
not ready.
Yeah.
Let it
They
sit.
you
Let it sit.
all day long. But that's a beautiful analogy I think about in life is that you got to work at it and to get to a higher level, a higher state. You know how to adjust, you know how to do better. But when you get something so quick and so fast, even like a hit song, there's only one way to go is down after that. Cause it's like
Yeah.
you had a song that took over the world and everybody's doing it and everybody's like, oh, wow, this is amazing. So when it's time for number two to come out, it can't live up to that most of the time because
Yeah. And sometimes that happens a lot. Like the number two hit, it's not like, oh, it was cool, but it wasn't like the number one. It didn't have the summer, like how the first one had the summer last year. And
yeah,
it, and it, and it happens because sometimes, and also too, sometimes those artists and they get people in their head like, yo, you got to put out another one. Hey, we need something. We need something. The other songs it's not getting the same views. You need something. Instead of taking the time to find the right people to make that right song, it's like, all right, let me see what I can get real quick. And it's just like, nah, it wasn't it. It
it's
wasn't it.
one way to go, man. Yeah, man, but your story is amazing. Your journey is amazing. I know we could talk all day, but I definitely
Definitely.
want to get the guy that you was talking about that likes to help people out. Does he have a social or a website or anything like that?
Um, yeah, I have to give you after this, I have to give you
Oh yeah,
his
we can
information.
put it in afterwards and stuff like that. And also, once again, your website and the Instagram for people watching.
So remember my product is pralines. My name is Kareem. They say Reams for short. So Reams Pralines, REAMS PRALINES.com. Just like the Instagram, Reams Pralines. As soon as you type it up, I'll pop right up. So please check me out. And I appreciate whoever checks me out, even if you don't follow me, just take a look. You just take time out your day just to look. I appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then my last thing I do when I get out here, speak it to existence. For you, speak it to existence. Where will you be this time next year, next August, with your business?
Next August, I should have 2, 3 more flavors. I should be 2, 3 more states, and Brooklyn should be my city. As far as Brooklyn would be the praline city, and everybody and the mothers should know. So hopefully, my goal is to get into sporting events. I want to be in Yankee Stadium, Met Stadium, uh, the Barclays Center, Madison Square Garden. Also too, I'm trying to be in hotels, motels, especially. But yeah, those are my goals for next year, is to be in other states and to be in obviously grocery stores. But I really want to be in and get into hotels, and I really want to get into sporting events also. So those are really my goals for I think the store thing, I could do that. It's not, I'm in the store right now. So that's just doing the footwork. So I know I could do that, but I really want to be in sporting events. I want people to go to Yankee Stadium, pick up a bag of pralines. I want people to go to the Barkley game, see Kyrie, Kevin Durant while eating my bag of pralines. So those are like specific goals, like I really want to conquer by next year.
All right. And this is recorded.